Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic us Non-Classics. This is episode number 33, 16, Doubleshot 32, 10. So, Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. First up, it's Transformers Volume 2, Transport of Oblivion, which I believe that is RC on the cover. Yes. Written by Danny Warren Johnson, which, if he's on the book, expect wrestling moves to be basically put in this book. It wasn't that much in the first volume, but this one, oh yeah, they definitely do with this one. We have Jorge Corina basically in the artwork. So, the first part of this book basically focuses on what we contain the Battle of Saboteur. We see Cup, we see RC, we see some purple guy where RC is basically bowing her way through, and what looks to be a base of possibly Decepticons, and we see somebody be taken apart. Who is this one? Let's see. I think it's I'm not sure. It could be Devastator based on size. Then we cut to aircraft carrier. Basically, it's like, oh yeah, robots mentioned Soundwave. And then, of course, basically, we have Soundwave and Starscream fighting each other. Starscream probably was arm blown off. And Thundercracker 2. So basically, three guys all battling for position. We even have Starscream get punched in the face. We have basically Laserbeak, I think it's Ravage, basically, because they fight each other. There's a headbutt. Laserbeak gets involved too. And he's basically not doing too good. And then he just punched him in the gut, ripping his guts out, throw him over. And then, presumably, Soundwave is in charge of the Decepticons. Then we see Carly training with a gun. And of course, RC. Then we have Ultra Magnus. I think he was one, basically, who was taking the part there. So, there's stuff with him in here. Spike is getting out of the hospital. He doesn't also happen to his father, so. Then they go back to the Ark, yeah, where he's still got Megatron's arm on himself. Yeah. Yeah, then of course, yeah, basically Soundwave and Thundercracker basically destroy an aircraft carrier. And then you have Carly find a bazooka. Yep. But Carly is like worried, and then I never thought to see this in this series, because this never happened in the original Marvel comic book at all. And I don't think this thing ever popped up in the IDW continuity. I only remember this show up only in the Transformers TV show and Beast Wars. We have Starscream and Thundercracker finding the Decepticon warship, the Nemesis. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, and here it is here found in the mountains. Because in Beast Wars, in that show, it was found on the bottom of the ocean. And then we eventually, then basically it gets flown to the mountains where we see it in the 84 show. Which is, it's really cool they actually threw this ship in here, because this ship has very rarely been featured in the media. Very rarely. So, you have Jetfire basically doing this thing here. We have Astro Train looking for Starscream. Like, I remember him being bigger, so it's probably smaller. I like all the character dynamics in here. And then Soundwave gets a call from Shockwave. Ooh, now we're cooking. The awesome is that Shockwave. And then for some reason we have like big whirlpool happen in the middle of the ocean because the space bridge opened up. Here comes Soundwave. They have Ironhide and Ratchet. Basically, Ratchet nearly dying. Yes, Ratchet. You know, the medic, and more fighting here. Yeah. And then we have, get this, we have Shockwave giving Optimus Prime a Tombstone pile driver. I'm like, okay, interesting. Like, I kind of expect that because as Dan Warren Johnson, like, the thing is, if you ever read his Beta and Bill book, this one issue you have Beta and Bill giving suplexes to an alien. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. The RC takes out Soundwave, and the RC gets a gun, and more shooting up here. And of course, Ironhide gets left behind for, well, probably by accident. He gets experimented by Shockwave. Yeah, then we have where you have fighting basically, and basically we have Beachcomber. You're like, who the heck is this guy? Well, apparently he fell out of the airlock while the Decepticons and Autobots are fighting themselves, are basically having a big brawl on basically the Ark. He ends up on the moon while the ship crashes over as he remains there for a good period of time. He actually witnesses, yes, he witnesses the moon landing. Yep, the famous moon landing. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Famous quote from Neil Armstrong. Yep, and then you see him on the surface. And then basically it's just, oh, begin repairs because he's there. Nope. Leave all asleep. The Astral Train basically is like tied up, and eventually you have Shockwave basically up against Torture. And then we go to the Earth Space Bridge. Of course, Wheeljack is getting tortured alongside Wheeljack. Yep, I think it's Wheeljack. No, it's Ratchet. They're forced to leave behind, and then eventually you think Abba's gonna rescue them. Well, and then for some weird reason, they open a portal that basically nearly blows a hole through space, and it summons freaking the planet Cybertron. I'm like, did Daniel Warren Johnson rip off the third Transformers movie when in the movie they try to bring Cybertron on the Earth, and then eventually with last night we actually see Cybertron and it's in ruins? The harvest just begun, and then Beachcomber basically see him where he's surfing. And then we see RC and Eta 1 basically fighting each other. Yes. There was a rumor that Eta 1 became RC, but never confirmed. Orion Pax definitely is. That was Optimus Prime's original name before it became that. So, lots of good dialogue here, and then, well, Ashwing came about Beachcomber, and then Shockwave, then it's like, oh yeah, Source. It's like, usually no scenes like, what? Drop it. What are you doing to my old friends? Yeah, and then of course RC, and of course they nearly like. Then of course Shockwave takes out Ironhide for some reason, and then Devastator shows up. Yes, freaking Devastator. Yes, the Transformer Autobot who's actually, 5 different Constructibots. And then here comes Ultra Magnus basically stepping in, freeing Wheeljack. And Cliff. And of course you have Soundwave with a gun firing at them. And then you have, look like Beachcomber transforming into a van, just driving right into Soundwave. Well, being driven by Carly, freeing Ironhide. And then him again getting killed by Devastator. Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff here. Then Optimus Prime loses a leg, fires. Actually, he shoots off his own leg for some reason. He gets it fixed, don't worry. Yeah, and then Optimus proceeds to beat the crap out of more Decepticons. Shockwave loses an arm thanks to Optimus. Ratchet. And of course, basically, he really wants to kill Shockwave. It was like boom, boom, boom. And then basically he proceeds to crush Shockwave's head. Damn! As far as I can tell, no one's ever done the Shockwave that I know of, where someone actually crushes head. And of course, basically, he's told to stop by RC because of all the experiments Shockwave is doing. But then, of course, they blow a chunk. They basically cut like a slice off Cybertron itself. You have Optimus basically falling to Earth orbit. Beachcombers act like the frickin' Silver Surfer here. Yes, the Silver Surfer. But he saves Optimus from falling to Earth, and then he surfs, and we see a piece of Cybertron fall to the Earth, and that book ends. Excellent book. I give this book a 10 out of 10. It's awesome. Next up we have is, well, a crossover I don't think anybody ever expected for the Turtles that we get involved with, because well, I saw this. Now here's the thing, I've never seen Stranger Things at all, but yeah, they cross over Stranger Things. Now I have heard good things about the show. I actually, believe it or not, I actually met somebody briefly at a meeting where his son was actually one of the extras on the show. Yes. I don't know which one per se, but she said her son was an extra in the show. Not one of the main actors, but one of the extras. I'm like, that's cool. Stranger Things is still very popular as far as I can tell. So, not surprising they crossover with Turtles. Though I have heard that some people say the show should have ended the season 4 because the last 2 or 3 seasons of the show have not been as good as the early seasons of the show. So, just written by Cameron Chittick, it's mostly put the cast of Stranger Things interacted with Turtles for this quick mini-series. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, check it out. That's really all I'm going to say about it, because it just ended up universe thanks to a portal. Yes, a portal, because classic crossover 101, use a portal. Heck, they even did it with a recent Batman Spawn crossover. Yeah. But yeah, that's particularly a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses. Okay? Thanks, view. Bye.